So let's just check whether my voice is audible or not. Okay, yeah. So let's start with the video. So hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's lecture, we will be creating ourselves our very own backend integration. Okay. So what we will do, we will firstly check out that whether we are properly able to conduct our data or not. So what we will do, we will be creating ourselves all the integrations of backend and everything. Okay. So what that will help us out, that will make sure that all the backend that we have created so far, that login registration and everything is properly working. And as soon as you will click on sign up, you will be redirected to that page. Okay. So what we are going to do, we have already created our backend here. Okay. So let me just give you a little introduction of the backend. So in the backend part, we have already created ourselves our user models and everything. You can see properly everything is available and working. Okay. So our each and every models and stuffs are working without any sort of problems. Okay. So let me just ensure that, yeah. Okay. So our backend works perfectly. Let me just run that out to show you. Okay. So inside this backend, we have npm run dev. Okay. And inside npm run dev, you can see it shows that server is running localhost 3000 and the localhost is here. You can see that welcome to Pocket ID backend. Okay. So this clearly shows us that, yeah, our backend works perfectly fine without any sort of issues. Now, let me just do one thing. Let me show you basics about it. So in this, you can see we have the database part here. So database has been connected. And right after this database, we have our application.js. Okay. And after the app.js, also we have like index.js, which have all the URLs and stuff. Then you have user model, which basically stores the model of user, which is like, which basically has this schema, like for example, email, password, timestamps, save and check methods and all. Then after that, we created this particular. After that, we created ourselves very basic controllers, which controllers can see this and everything. Okay. Now, let's begin with it. Now, what I'll be doing inside of this is I'll be integrating this backend with the front end so that you will be able to see that whether each and everything is properly working or not. Okay. So let's get started with it. Let me first go to front end. And inside this front end, I have to create one folder that I'll be naming right here as providers. So, providers, providers.dot. Okay. Now, inside this provider, I'll create a new file. Now, this provider will be having a file called as auth provider. Okay. Which will give us the authentication. So auth provider.dart. And similarly, we will create one more file, which is user provider.dart. Okay. So user provider.dart. These are the two files. User provider will be added when we will be entering all the user related data. Currently, I have not added that. So we will be not going to that particular user provider, but auth provider will be dealing with here. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me quickly reach up here and I'll write import package letter material dot. Okay, and right after that we have import package. Inside the package I'm going to use http, okay, slash http dot, and I'll call this out as http like that. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's quickly start with an auth provider. So I'll write class auth provider extends change notifier. Okay, and inside this notifier we are going to write a basic function. So static, inside static I'm going to call for future. This future will be asking two, three things. Okay, first, it will be only taking strings. Then inside that, I'm gonna ask for login user. Okay, and this login user will take string email, okay, email, comma, string password. Okay, and then I'm gonna write async, and right inside the asynchronous, I'm gonna try a couple of methods here. So the couple of methods is firstly I store request body. Okay, equals to inside the request body, firstly I'll write email and then I'll store this inside our email. Then I'm gonna call in for password and I'll be storing password. Okay. So this is the first one. Then we are going to create another variable and we'll name this variable as response. Okay. Now inside this response, we will use our HTTP writer. Okay. Yeah. Let me check whether my voice is audible or not. Yeah. So this works fine. Now inside that, I'm gonna write await http dot post. Okay, we are going to use post method. Inside the post method, we will use URI dot parse, and inside the parse, we will write login. Now this login currently is not defined, but I will be defining it just within few minutes. Then after that, it will ask for headers. Now inside the headers, you will write content type. Content type. Let me just close this out. And the content type will make sure to add application slash JSON. Okay, so this will be storing that. Now after this we have body. So inside the body we are going to call JSON decode request.body, the request body that we are basically going to use it. Okay, why this is not working, not JSON decode, actually JSON input. Okay, and talking about this login right here, what I'll do, I'll just quickly go inside this and I'm gonna create a file, name it as config.dart. Now this config.dart will be having the configurations. Okay. So configurations will be like, firstly you will be having final URL equals to the very basic HTTP, and slash 192.168.29, and after that 169 and then 3000. Okay, so these are the basic URLs, and after this URL we have final register. Register will be equals to URL plus register. Like that, I'm gonna call it out. Okay, so that will be it, and final login. Sorry. Final login will be storing URL plus login. Okay, so that will be it. Now I'll just call the login right here, import config.dart. So now this will work exactly fine as we were expecting it to work. Now, right after this encoding part, we have to firstly format this out. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to write that if response dot status code equals to 200, then we are going to check variable listen response equals to JSON decode response dot body. Okay. And then what we'll write that if inside the JSON response we have inside the JSON response we have any status message, like for example, what is the status message? Let me check what we have written. Which equals to user logged in successfully. User, if we get this message there, that means our user is properly uh, registered. Okay, so then we'll do print. What I'm gonna print that login successful. Okay, so login was successful. That I'm gonna print right here. And then what I'll do, I'll just return the JSON token that was generated. Okay. Firstly, let me just have a look to the backend and we will get to know what exactly we have written. Yeah, we have written message user registered successfully, or we can add for status success. So what you can do, add yes. So what I'll do, I just add here that JSON response, and inside the JSON response we have the status. So status equals to success. If the status says that yeah, you have successfully logged in, then you can also print that user was successfully logged in. Then you'll write else. Okay. Now inside this else, we will print out some other data. So I'll write print. Inside the print, I'll write authentication. So authentication. Wait, so authentication was right there. And what I'll do inside the authentication, you can print out whatever error you are basically facing out there. So what I'll do, I'll write JSON response inside this JSON response, we'll write message and then we'll write return null. I don't want to return anything else in this particular case. Okay. Now, right after this, for this main response, we are going to print an else statement here. What I'll do, I'll just print out the error dot status code, and so what I'll do, I'll print out server error. Inside the server error, I'll basically print out response code, and also I'll print out one more thing, that is response.body, that what exactly error we are this thing. So response.body will be also print out. Then we will basically return null node. So that's pretty much it for this. And after this, what you can write catch an error here. So catch E. Okay. In this E, you can store anything. So, but what I'm gonna do, I'm just basically going to print errors logging in, error logging in, and you have E. And this will basically help us to run it properly. Okay, so our login, our proper data for creating a user has been done. Now, what we have to do, we have to just go inside our login page. But before going to login page, let me make sure that our application works perfectly. Then only we will be proceeding into the further data. But a navigator dot off on trace and something will be off. Okay. So as you can see that we are successfully able to, let me just wait for one more second so that we can see that what is going on with our application. Yeah. Now I'll just launch it again so that I can, get to able to see why exactly it is taking that much long. But yeah, it will be successfully working within a minute. Let's give it a second to properly launch out. Then we will be integrating that inside our front-end part as well. So yeah, you can see that it is launched up here and you can enter anything you want in it. So yeah, this works. Now what I'll do, I'll just redirect to this particular register page. And inside this register page, I'm gonna ensure that we perform this login part properly. So we have already added our text editing controllers. Okay. And inside this text editing controllers, we are also going to use the login part as well. So what I'll do, I'll just add here a new line. And inside this new line, I'm going to write void login user. And inside this login user, we are going to use async. And then right inside the async, we will write that first we have to check that whether the email controller is empty or not. So email text editing controller dot text dot is not empty. Okay. And email password text editing controller dot text dot is not empty. Okay, so is not empty here. Then in that case as well, we will be starting to move forward. Otherwise, you have to make sure to return that it's not running or it's not proper. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just write variable token equals to await. And what we will do, we will call this token from the auth provider that we have created there. Inside the email it's asking, so we will give our email text editing controller dot text. Okay, so dot text and also the password text editing controller dot text. So that will ensure that we get our data as well. So password text editing controller dot text. Like this. Okay. So we will work with this. Now, right after this, I'm gonna check that if the token that we are basically asking it, if the token is not equals to null, then you do what? You make sure to print that we have logged in successfully. So login successful. Yes, if we will, if you log in successful, that will be it. And right after this, what you can do, you can ask it to navigator dot push replacement, and right after this push replacement, we will be redirecting it to the new route. So material page route, and inside this material page route, we will write context. Okay. And right after this context, we will be redirecting it to cost my homepage. Okay. That's it. And this will be it if the user has been successfully logged in. Okay. Now, otherwise, what I'll do in this else case, I'll print login unsuccessful. So login failed, and you can also go and write something else here. Like for example, if you need some specific thing to be added, you can add that as well. Token was not found, the token is null or something like that. Okay. So yeah, just for the sake of better understanding, I'll write invalid credentials or the token was not found or something like that. Now, for the main else condition, what I'll do, I'll add case like for example, set state. Inside the set state, I'll write is not valid. So for that, I'll just create a variable here. Validate equals to okay. That's it. So what I'll do, I'll create a boolean here. That will be bool is not validate. What what will be the initial values? False. Okay. False will be the initial value here. Basically print this statement. Yeah. And right after this, it should be properly able to work here. So let me just do one thing. Let me go to the login section here and right inside this login section, I'll be ensuring that whether it's working or not. Yes, so as soon as we click on sign up here, we should be on pressed. Okay, so I'll just remove this out and I'll write basically login user. Okay, that's pretty much it that I'm gonna implement here. The application is still working properly in data and everything. So yeah, Flutter run. I'm just gonna make sure that it runs properly so that I'll be able to, enter the fields and make sure that the backend that we have, sorry, the linkage that we have done from the backend properly works. So yeah, you can see it works without any issues. Now let me just write, for example, abc@gmail.com. And what we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's hit sign up. So yeah, you can see it says server does not exist. And let me check that whether we are even able to connect to the backend or not. So let me first have a look to the backend right here. And yeah, backend seems to be working properly fine. So yeah, you can see that currently it says that the credentials are not work fine. We does not have that particular user. So what I'll do, I have created a dummy user here before. So the pass account is abcd@gmail.com and you have password 123. Okay, let's hit that whether this one is working or not. So now what it says, login failed, invalid credentials. Okay. Type null is not subtype of Boolean. Okay, so where exactly we are facing that error? Type null is not a subtype of Boolean. So let's check. So we just do one thing, move this out, and not set anything else inside this. And now let's do one thing. Let's try to rerun this application or ourselves. Okay, so I just perform a hot reload, and as soon as I write a hot reload, I should be able to see that everything has been reset. Now what I'll do, I'll just open Postman just to check whether the APIs are working or not. Okay, so let me just hold on for a minute. And this Postman should be working properly. Fine. So inside this body, you can see abcd@gmail.com and you have the password. So you can see success, users logged in successfully. So I'll do what? I'll just copy out this credentials and I'll just paste this right here. Okay, and also this password. So, PASX 123. I hit up here. Let me go have a look what error we are getting. We are basically getting that error logging line type null is not a subtype of Boolean. So we have to check for this particular line that in which particular line this statement we have written so that we are facing this error. Okay, let's just check on for a minute. Token is inside this. What we have written that if the controller is not empty and the password controller is not empty, then what you do, you create a token. Inside the token, we have called our login user. And what we have searched that if the token is not null, then you print login successful. And then you navigate it to somewhere else. Otherwise, you print that login was failed, okay, and the credentials was basically invalid, right? So technically, that should not create any sort of error here. So now let's go to the odds provider, and inside this odds provider, we'll have a look what error we should be facing here. We should be checking for future string. Okay, so string, future, everything is fine. And inside this, we are basically asking for an email and password. And inside this email and password, we are referring to response body. And inside the response body, we are we are storing email and password. Now, what we are doing, we are writing response await, and inside this response await, we are checking for post. So the post will be uri.parsed login. So this login is, yeah, proper. I have to check for this links. Actually, maybe these links might be creating some issues. So yeah, the links are not creating any sort of issues. And what is there in this? That you will be firstly checking whether the status code is 200. So yeah, if the particular status code is 200, then we will write JSON response equals to JSON decode the particular response, and you print that login was successful. So user logged in successfully. I just remove this basic lines that maybe it will be causing error, so it will be removed. Okay. And then you will be returning this token. Otherwise, what you will do if you are not getting any sort of authentication, you will write authentication failed, return null, else server error. So inside server error, it should not create any sort of issues right here. Okay. Format. So this is also proper. And login. Inside the login, maybe we are facing in any particular line here. in type null is not subtype of boolean. This is, but in which particular line we are getting that? We have to have a look. Your package seems to be working, and something else might be facing this error. Let me go and check once more. Go and it right here, and now we should be able to get our answers. So this, so says that this particular login user is returning null. Yeah, but it was basically supposed to return boolean. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me return something else like false, for example. A value of boolean can't be returned because yeah, I eventually set it to return null. That's why should be not causing any sort of error. I don't know why it's still creating error here. Maybe there might be error in this particular line of code. So inside this if condition, it says that oh yeah, we were not supposed to get this. Now it should be fine. If I'm not wrong, that was it. That was the main reason we were facing that particular error over here. Now let me try to check. Still we are facing it. Let me restart it. Restart now. abcd@gmail.com. Then you have passwords and password. It, it, sign up. Yeah. So you can see that firstly we are getting login successful. Then we are getting login failed and invalid credentials. So the credentials seems to be not having any problem. We have to go and check once again. Login successful. Then you are returning this. Right. So login failed. Where exactly is login failed? Login failed is not here. So our JSON token was successfully sent here, but here we were getting error. Like this. If this token is not null, then you have to write login successful, and then you will print basically this line of code, right? Let me go back and check. Beside login, if we are getting properly everything done, then we should be able to redirect ourselves into a new line of code. Okay, format. So if token is not null, then you have to write login successful, which is doing. But yeah, then what happened, it should be supposed to redirect us to this particular line of code. Now let's again check Yeah, and now invalid credentials, failed credentials. Okay, so restart. Maybe restarting the application might clear this error out. Okay. So let's hit for the final try. cd@gmail.com and password. So password. What exactly this button is doing? Now it should not create any sort of errors. Login successful, login failed, invalid credentials. See, what is happening? Our data is successfully print here, right? Login successful. But after that, it's not getting redirected to this particular line here. I don't know why this line is creating an error. It's properly there, but just we are unable to redirect ourselves to this particular line. And that is the main reason why this else statement is getting checked in. So let's just make sure that we have not done anything else here. Already account, sign in, sign in. So yeah, inside this sign in, what I'll do, I'll add the link, navigator, or push context, and inside this push, I'm basically going to return home page. Okay, so home page, and let me refresh this. Okay. And now if I click on sign in, yeah, my this file is working. What happened to this replacement? No, just push, not replace. Okay. Replacement means that it just removed all of that from the memory, right? But just push means it will add another slide inside memory. That is the major difference. Okay. So now let me just wait for it to restart, and as soon as it will be restarted, I'll just make sure that it works. See, our code works properly without any sort of errors, and also our API is also working without any issues. Integration has also been done, but the only difference is the last redirect part is unable to read that. That's why we are facing this error. Okay. So if I just hit Flutter run, let me just give it a minute. As soon as it will be done, we will be able to get the answer. Let's just wait for it. So yeah, it has been started. Now sign in works. Let's hit back button. And yeah, so A, B, C. Let me do one thing. Let me go to the postman first. And inside this login part, register part, I'll go and I'll write A at the rate one A at the rate gmail.com, and the password will be 123. Okay. And then we will just hit to register. Okay. So now we can see the user has been registered. So A at the rate gmail.com and 123. Okay. Now let's sign up. So yeah, it says server error 400, user does not exist. But in this case, if I go here and check, like let's try to hit login here and let's hit send. Yeah, user does not exist. It says user has been successfully registered. But I don't think so that this login will work for this particular user. Yeah. I have to check why this login is not working. So cd@gmail.com and password 123. Now if I'll check, yeah, success, user successfully logged in. So I have to just go here, abcd password PASFWORD 123. Okay. Hit sign in and first it says login successful, then login failed. So there is a small bit of error inside this particular line. I'll just show you the line. Yeah, I'll just write spacing error after this line. And I would really like everyone to just have a look into this particular line. And if you understand each and everything that we have done, how to integrate, just don't forget to like the video, share it with amongst the friends, and subscribe to the channel. Right? I hope you have understood each and everything that we have done so far. It was not that bit difficult because already we have done multiple times this integration. So I hope everything was clear to you. The only thing which we are facing is this particular line error. It is unable to navigate from this line and it is basically checking out all the conditions here. So I'll make sure that we does not get this error. But yeah, uh, this was pretty much it for this video. I will see in the next one where we will be just continuing and finishing this most probably. This is day 14 and login integration. Yeah. This was pretty much it for this video. I will see you in the next one. And the code for this particular file is available on my GitHub. So don't forget to go and check my GitHub profile. In that, it will be probably available, and you can just fetch the data from here. So you can see Pocket ID front end, and you will be able to see each and everything available. So if you have any sort of doubts and queries, you can connect me here, check me out, my profile, follow me, and ask any sort of queries if you have. Okay. So this was pretty much it for this video. I will catch you in the next one. Till then,